we say all the time that Dungeons and Dragons is very inspired by Lord of the Rings, and it very much is directly. But there was a point in the book that this was pointed out to me, and it absolutely works, where it feels as though Lord of the Rings is inspired by Dungeons and Dragons.
Heresy.
And it is the introduction of Tom Bombadil.
No, Tom
Simply
Bombadil.
because Tom Bombadil narratively feels like a dungeon master putting his players in a situation they're not qualified for, and there's no way they're going to survive. And he's like, oh, crap. What do I do? I don't want him to die here. Okay, this dude, here we go. He's, forest guy. Throw him in. Oh, he saved him. Look at there. You guys are okay now. Not discounting how fantastic Tom Bombadil is. I freaking love him.
I have really mixed emotions on Tom Bombadil just because he's such a confusing character. I talked about this last time. I like Tom Bombadil, but one of the most head-scratching scenes of the whole thing is like, hey, forest guy, oh, that ring of great power that corrupts everyone. Look, he's wearing it on and laughing, and now he takes it off, and then it's weird.
I think it's another allegory. It's just
stop trying to give Tolkien allegories. He's mad at you right now.
I think it's another theme, or he's just pointing us beyond himself, and that way we can call it a sacrament, if you will. The sacramentology of the story is that he's pointing us beyond the story to in a way God, who is in our story, but beyond it as well. Who he has power to bring about miracles, to make changes, but sometimes he steps back, and like evil has no effect on him. And he's still present to us, but
I've never heard that Tom Bombadil take. I like that.
Well, he has a reason, a purpose, where he allows things to happen a certain way, and we actually see that in the greater story of Lord of the Rings, where Frodo shows mercy to Gollum, right? And then at the end, you see Frodo is not able to carry out the whole. Like, he gives everything he has to this mission. And this is actually from a talk that Tolkien gave once on like how Frodo didn't make it, but still, because he gave everything to it, like divine providence, if you will, helped him, complete that mission. And so we could even say too, like if we are giving our whole heart and intending to follow God and carry out his mission for us. And, if we give everything to what we have, then that's all we can do. And so that's what Frodo did. He gave everything. And then it turned out that Gollum, whom he had mercy on the whole journey, he never killed, right? Even though he could have, even especially with the elves and the trees, I think, like towards the end of Two Towers, he says, no, don't kill him. He's my friend. Like that's how the ring gets destroyed. That's how the mission is carried out. And who knows, that could have been Tom Bombadil's design. I don't know the lore like you do.
Okay, so
tell us the right answer.
There's a lot of truth to that. I want to start with that. There's a lot of truth to that, but less as involves Tom Bombadil.
Okay,
because I have heard
Tom Bombadil is king.
Tom Bombadil is a god-like figure, and theories that he is like an embodiment of Eru Ilúvatar, who's the god.
That's right.
But they're unfortunately wrong.
I have a statement.
And it's largely wrong because Tolkien said so.
Okay, absolutely.
But what Tom Bombadil does kind of represent, you were saying like he's a head scratcher and he confuses you. That's the idea. He's the capital M mystery. Tolkien threw him in for a couple of reasons. One, he'd already created him a long time ago and he wanted him in this story. So he had his OC and he threw it in, like you're saying, with the Dungeons and Dragons kind of DM plot. But two, Bombadil is in there early and just before our hobbits are going to encounter their first kind of adversity, like real, this is us, we're not just hearing about adversity. And he's a force for good and he's a force for nature because these are mysterious, like introducing the mysterious powers of this universe. So yes, there's something about Tom Bombadil, like they call him oldest and fatherless. Like in the Council of Elrond scene, one more reason it's great because they try and explain him and they're like, we're never going to explain him, never mind. So he does kind of embody a bit of that. I've heard a good theory that maybe he embodies an incarnation of the music of the Ainur, still living fresh in Middle-earth, because he's got like this very limited power over his domain of nature, but it seems limitless in that limited geography. He can wear the ring. He can laugh around with it. It has no power on him. But equally, if they gave it to him, they say he'd probably just forget about it. 'Cause it's so outside of his influence. So, but that's one more reason why he didn't work as a god figure is because he's a bit too detached.
Well, my thought is, and you know more, so correct me if I'm wrong, but and this is kind of what I think differs between Lewis and Tolkien is that Lewis, it's like all his themes are kind of like connected, and you can kind of they follow in that world. But I always seem to be like Tolkien just had a bunch of themes that he wanted to include, so he just wrote this story, and then he like kind of shaped it in clay, and so you have like the lambda. Was it lambda? The bread.
Lambus bread.
Lambus bread. That what am I saying? So you have the bread that kind of points to the Eucharist, and then you have like a prophecy with Aragorn, and you have like King Theoden, and how he is, kind of possessed in a way by Sauron, and then in a way then you have Gandalf come in and almost like cast out the demon and exorcise him. Which I honestly like. If you read Lord of the Rings with the charismatic like perspective,
Right.
it's
You
really
can get right in there.
You can get really in there. But yeah,
But even from the other end, what I was going to speak to in terms of that divine influence, it's a little more biblical.
yeah.
And even outside of the Silmarillion, which is very biblical in tone, like deliberately, the syntax and the way that sense is constructed. But there's all of these little snippets where someone gets a dream or someone gets a feeling that seems to come out of nowhere. And Tolkien almost describes it as such, like especially with Frodo in Mordor or elsewhere, something that tells them turn left or not right.
Yeah.
That's a bit more of the divine kind of the discernment, the spiritual movement. And I think it's one of the ways that Tolkien couldn't hide his faith because he couldn't write a universe that didn't have a little of that, that supernatural, that higher influence.
Whoa, hey, producer Ben here. If you enjoyed what you saw just now, then go check out the full episode because this is only a snippet. We've got a whole hour talking about stuff just like this. And if you really enjoyed, please drop us a like, subscribe so you never miss an honest to God episode.